Today, the Aurora city manager officially introduced his choice to become the city's next police chief. If approved by the city council, this would mark the department's 6th chief since 2019. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Tom Green. It was in a press conference the people of Aurora had their first chance to hear from Todd Chamberlain. 9 News reporter Aaron Adelson explains why city leaders defended their hiring process, which has not included any public input.
It's a familiar routine in Aurora.
I am very happy to introduce Todd Chamberlain, the next chief of police.
Naming police chiefs.
Aurora is now my home.
Todd Chamberlain could become the city's 6th police chief in the last 5 years.
Give me a chance. Let's partner. Let's collaborate and let's work together. And again, I'm here for the long haul.
Just this year alone, Chamberlain would be the 3rd chief. In January, interim chief Art Acevedo announced he was leaving. In July, his replacement, interim chief Heather Morris, announced she would not pursue the job permanently. While city manager Jason Batchelor worked to hire someone behind the scenes, now he says people have to accept his pick and his hiring process.
The charter lays out that I appoint and that council confirms, and so this is the process we're using.
Mayor Mike Kaufman says he'll vote to confirm Chamberlain, as will council member Françoise Bergen, who says she met with Chamberlain about a month ago behind closed doors.
This may not be what the community thinks is the most transparent, but I can assure them he will be meeting with the community and reaching out, and he certainly wants to have partnerships with the community.
Chamberlain also defended the hiring process and, if confirmed, promises action.
I am going to articulate out what I need to fix, what I need to change. If there's issues, I'm going to address them. I'm not going to say I'm going to sit in the chair for 2 years and wait until somebody else comes in and fix them. I'm going to fix them.
City leaders hope Chamberlain brings stability. In Aurora, Aaron Adelson, 9 News.
The city manager says his next budget will include funding for an independent monitor to oversee the department after its consent decree ends. Chamberlain says that he welcomes the oversight, which the state's Attorney General Phil Weiser has also called for.
According to reporting from the Los Angeles Times, in 2013, the city of LA paid out more than $1 million to an officer who Chamberlain supervised. The officer claimed he was racially harassed and won his lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges Chamberlain not only failed to address misconduct, but also approved of it. When 9 News asked Chamberlain about that lawsuit, he said he learned of the issues 2 weeks into his command, and he was the one that took action to stop it.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because that lawsuit specifically came from a hostile, discriminatory work environment that was allowed to go for way too long.
Aurora city manager tells 9 News he looked into the lawsuit and corroborated Chamberlain's version of events. Let's take a live look outside. Another day where we're tracking isolated storms around the area, but lots of clouds. It was you felt it much cooler today.
Yeah, and lightning has actually caused a delay down at Castle Pines. They were very close to wrapping up the first round down there, but there is lightning in that area. Kathy's with us now talking about all of it. Good morning. Hi. Good morning. Hi, Kathy.
Good morning and good afternoon, Tom.
Good to see you.
And good evening shortly. Yes, if this is the first delay in Castle Pines with the weather that we've seen across the foothills this afternoon, that's amazing news, but I'm afraid there may be additional delays as the thunderstorms really start to get going here in the next couple of hours. And so a dry for the evening drive, but thunder showers along the Front Range foothills with a bit of wind and lightning. And as Kim mentioned, the weather headline for today is cooler. It is much cooler. 86 in Denver, 88 in Greeley, 80 in Grand Junction, and 70s in the mountains this afternoon. The winds at the surface coming in out of the east and southeast and starting to pick up, and that's also going to transport in some low-level moisture. We're tracking storms that could turn severe across eastern Colorado tonight, and that flash flood threat certainly there across the burn scar areas, which have seen rain over the last 3 to 4 days. Storm movement from the southwest to the northeast. We're seeing a bit of thunder and lightning across the foothills. So far, the storms have not crossed into the metro area. Still pretty heavy on some of the I-70 corridor areas like Glenwood Springs and then also up on Highway 40 near Craig and Steamboat Springs. So far, Denver dry, but we've got a whole bunch of moisture coming up from the southwest. Castle Rock's just had isolated showers, but there are lightning strikes coming in with our detection system as these storms track from the south southwest toward the northeast. You can see not a lot of rain in and around the Castle Pines area, but if you look off to the west, some of that storm movement will include Castle Pines. This is the area for hail-producing storms east of Lyman tonight. Denver outside the severe threat. We'll give you the timing and impact of the storms that we're expecting in a few hours. That's coming up in Maine weather.
After more than a year, a man facing 2 first-degree murder charges is free. Stefan Long claimed self-defense after he shot and killed 2 brothers he said attacked him on I-25 in June of last year. Yesterday, District Attorney Beth McCann from Denver announced she's asking the court to dismiss the final charge against him. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is live at the DA's office, where a press conference is set to begin shortly. Janelle?
Kim, in less than an hour, we're set to hear from the Long family, community members, and Alexander Landau of the Denver Justice Project. Before we got here, we actually spoke with Landau about fighting for Long's freedom since the beginning of this case. For more than a year, 2 charges of first-degree murder plagued Stefan Long's future.
And we saw the strong arm of a system that was used to tear him apart. And it was used against him.
But just yesterday, prosecutors announced they'd be dropping the final charge against Long.
So this means the entire case has been concluded, and he is a free man.
Alexander Landau co-directs the Denver Justice Project. He spent the last year organizing calls to action, writing letters to the DA, and advocating for the Long family.
It really began to have to be addressed on this systemic level.
Long claims self-defense after shooting and killing 2 men on I-25, June 2023. He says he was attacked, feared for his life, and shot the men to get away.
Really, this is the justice that Stefan should have been afforded from the very beginning.
Landau says this is the outcome he's strived for, but also knows the work can't stop here.
Yesterday was a monumental victory, not just for Stefan and his family, but for the broader community who have stood behind him this entire time. For other individuals who may be in similar circumstances, this is the type of dismissal that could help set precedent for other individuals who are faced to go through unjust proceedings in our criminal justice system.
Landau says he looks forward to working with Long and newly elected Denver DA John Walsh to continue to fight oversights in the criminal justice system. Live in Denver, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
Thanks, Janelle. We'll listen in to some of that press conference at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Tonight in Chicago, Vice President Kamala Harris will formally accept the presidential nomination of the Democratic Party. Of course, that'll be wrapping up the 4th and final night of the Democratic National Convention. Harris in the speech says she has 3 ideas that she wants to talk about, including policy. A little bit later in the show, Kyle Clark will join us live from Chicago to preview tonight's night at the DNC.